Shalom. This week's reading from the Torah is parasha Behar. And the Lord spoke unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say to them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a sabbath unto the Lord. Leviticus chapter 25, verses 1 through 2. An emphasis is placed on the Shemitah commandment being given at Mount Sinai. All the commandments were given at Sinai, so the question may be asked, why is Shemitah singled out from amongst the other commandments? This may be understood within the context of Emunah, faith. Hashem guarantees, now if you ask, what are we to eat during the seventh year? If, see, we are not to sow nor gather in or increase, now I will command my blessing to you in the sixth year, and you will yield a harvest sufficient for 3 years. It was necessary to have a harvest that would yield 3 years' worth of food, because in the 8th year, so to speak, when land could be planted after the land lied fallow for a year, that crop would not be available until the next year. So the 6 years crop, the Shemitah year, and the first year of the new cycle, those 3 years would all be provided by Hashem's guarantee. To rely on Hashem's word that he would bestow a blessing upon the children of Israel so that their crops would produce an abundance of yield, enough to last for 3 years, this is truly an act of Emunah, faith. Only Hashem could make this guarantee. So, inasmuch that Torah specifically notes the commandment to observe the Shemitah year, where in the 7th year the land is to lie fallow, this is a reminder that Hashem, who gave the commandment on Mount Sinai, is certainly the guarantor. Only God could assure the people that by placing their trust in him, he would provide for them until the new crop of the following year produced a yield. This is a commandment based entirely upon faith, a reassurance that God will provide. The Shemitah Cycle also alludes to the historical realization from a biblical perspective that after 6,000 years, there will be a sabbatical millennium. In like manner that the land is worked for 6 years, there will also be a total of 6,000 years of history. This is in accord with the Hebrew calendar, counting the generations from Adam. This does not imply that the world is only 6,000 years old. Rather, the first 6 days leading up into the creation of Adam is an entirely different period of time, according to both Torah and the sages. The 7th year, the Shemitah year of the 7-year cycle, when in the 7th year the land lies fallow, corresponds to the sabbatical millennium. Thus, the 1,000-year Sabbath begins with the reign of Mashiach in Jerusalem. It is considered the first part of Olam Haba, the world to come. Therefore, in light of this expectation, we are to prepare ourselves in this world so that we may partake of the reward likened to a banquet in the next world. As mentioned in Pirkei Avos, this world is like a corridor before the world to come, Olam Haba. Prepare thyself in the corridor, this life, so that thou mayst enter into the banquet hall, Olam Haba. Pirkei Avos, chapter 4, verse 21. Shabbat Shalom.